And R&D and innovation, I know you probably don't want me to ask this question, but it has been pretty important to the business. I know you have the grid. Do you want to just very quickly tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So innovation and R&D is critical to our business. So our success is based on strong partnerships with customers to solve their engineering problems. So our vision is to develop innovative product solutions that demonstrate obviously cost savings, superior technical performance, safer operations and better environmental outcomes. So it comes from, again, what we do. So our GRID, which stands for, and I have to read this out, Geosynthetic Research, Innovation and Development Laboratory, is a specialist facility that works up in Queensland. And they work with clients to develop the right geosynthetic solution for their project. So they can go out on site and really sort of develop, site-specific, analysis, test reports, and they often lean on, global research as well.
Is it those guys that are responsible for the award you won last year or this year?
Yeah, I guess they were for SorbSeal. So SorbSeal was a product that they developed, and it basically captures PFAS, which is obviously a ongoing environmental issue around, or globally, I should say. So yeah, they developed that solution to waste. So it's what you're seeing on the screen at the moment is the actual product itself, and yeah, that's what we won the award for.
Great. So let me keep going, but I suppose we're pretty proud to be associated with you guys and to support you in many respects. I think Symphony 3 have been kind of partnering with you or working with you for maybe the best part of 10 years, and kind of we sit almost between Asman as the IT lead in the business and you as the marketing person, and try and enable you to Absolutely. I guess to make some of your ideas and innovations come to life with technology. So let's get into it. Just to set the scene, I suppose, what we're trying to do with our businesses and all the clients we work with is help them think of being internet by default. And I'm not going to spend too much time on this diagram. This is a simple example. We've taken a travel agent. And one of the things we looked at, early internet, year 2000, travel agent on the high street, had a brochure website, but still people were coming in across the counter or over the telephone. And you had a whole lot of people behind the scenes and behind the desk, typing things into systems, speaking to people in the hotel companies or the car rental companies to try and put together an itinerary. Fast forward to 2010, we've made some progress, but this might be a flight center or some of the remaining traditional travel agents. They've got some integration, maybe with their website, but they still have people front and center. They're still typing things manually into systems, and they're still probably talking to people on the telephone. And again, it's taking longer to get a result back to the customer. We've got management out here with not much happening. No visibility really, or enough visibility. Where we want to get to, and this is an example of Webjet, and if we think of Webjet as a business, what they've got in the middle here is glue. So this is a key part of it. They integrate all their systems, so they can connect to tens or dozens or hundreds or thousands of systems. We don't really know. As a customer, they just provide us with a website or a portal. We type in our information. The glue understands what they've typed in and goes away, finds the answer, and comes back with an answer in, within seconds. Because we've got all our information, our customers connected to the ecosystem, we can put dashboards on here, and management have real-time access to data and information to make better decisions. So internet by default, obviously we don't have people here, so you've got massive efficiencies and cost savings, and we've got a much enhanced customer experience. So doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be successful, but certainly you have a much higher chance if you start embracing this internet technology. In terms of guys on the call, we kind of simplify it down to 4 things, and I've used the old manufacturing analogy, saying it's a conveyor belt. Probably not quite that simple, but 4 things you need to do. Obviously, have a plan, create a digital roadmap we're just redoing one with the guys at Geofabrics at the moment for some new upgrades we're going to make to the website. Next thing to do is you need to connect your systems. So we call it glue. Stick your systems together, use APIs, use middleware. Once you've done that, you can then connect your customers to services via a portal or a website to improve the customer experience. And then once you do that, you can connect management employees to dashboards for real-time access to information. And certainly the guys at Geofabrics are on that journey. We've got, I've kind of done a very rough diagram of what yours might look like, Asman. So you've got, you know, we're starting to build a customer portal. We have some customer portals here. You've got your glue in the middle. We're connecting to your ERP systems. We're connecting to some third-party systems, as we'll see. And I think you use Power BI to pull data out and allow reporting for your management in particular.
Yep.
So it's a journey, but you're well on it at this stage. I'm going to try and stop speaking so much now, and we'll jump into some real live examples. So we'll take maybe a marketing perspective first with Estra. I'm going to start with the Geofabrics Academy, Estra, because I know that's dear to your heart. Tell us a little bit about it and why it's so important.
Yeah, so one of our strategic pillars is obviously all around technical excellence. So this was a really good, opportunity to showcase that. Obviously, we've got a lot of knowledge around in the business and around the business when it comes to geosynthetic solutions. So the Geofabrics Academy came together to, again, like I said, position ourselves as a technical expert and leader in geosynthetics.
Right.
And it's specifically, targeted for engineers.
Yeah. We've rolled it out. Any particular features or functions? I might jump up and kind of show people what it looks like behind the covers. I know we were talking about Ben.
Sure. So, I mean, from the front end, from what customers can see, obviously, they log in and, well, initially they'll register for a specific course that we offer.
Yeah.
So we've got two sections. We've got upcoming courses. So that is where, you've got a you've got the presentation and then a live Q&A at the back.
Yeah.
So that's, quite interactive. And then, then that video, I guess, once it's, been, activated and it's live, it then goes into, another section, which covers off, people who haven't had a chance to look at it, but can still view it. So, and that would be, in a separate section.
Yeah.
Yeah, and all of that contributes to engineering, CPD hours. So that's where it's kind of critical.
Yeah, I think the branding here is quite important. Will that be correct to say? You guys are positioning yourselves as the leader, so everything is really
correct,
well branded with Geofabrics. I've just logged in here. I don't know. Hopefully, people can see my screen and they can see the back end. It's all manageable by you and your guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. So from the back end, it's managed predominantly by a couple of people within the business, just depending on what it is. And obviously, it's well connected to Zoom as well.
Yeah, and you guys do better than us. Once people get do their event, they get an email automatically sent out that allows them to add to Outlook. So it's, picks up the time zones, etc., which is important because you're working across so many different time zones.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's reminder emails as well going out to our customers, similar to what you guys just did before as well, because I saw there was an hour out.
Yeah.
So we've got reminder emails, and at the end of the, course that the person undertakes, there is a certificate that gets issued as well to them, just to remind them to go back onto the Engineers Australia website and log in there the time that they, obviously utilised to learn more about a specific topic that we're covering.
Yeah, this is what I'm showing people here. Very simple to put in a reminder email. You can send it out. It'll send it to the people who are subscribed, and it'll be fully branded when it goes. I'll show you very quickly the email. So we've got email reminders here. We can send out emails as soon as someone registers. We can schedule one for 2 days before, 1 hour before. And then we've got a certificate that goes out 2 days later. And again, that's all kind of automated and heavily branded. And here's my example from the test course that we set up earlier.
Yep.
So I think it's a great example. I think you've done really, really well with it, Estra. I think there's 10 odd courses coming up for the new year for any engineers who are on the call.
Yeah, definitely. So we're doing anywhere between, say, 8 to 10 courses throughout the year.
Yeah.
And like I said, you know, it gives actually people across the business an opportunity to present as well. So being the technical experts that they are,
yeah.
Because we do segment, you know, our, you know, business development managers within a specific sector. So yeah, it gives everyone an opportunity to really talk about the stuff that they know.
Great. All right, let me go back into our presentation. The next thing we're going to talk about is the solution builder. Now, Asman, I might throw this one over to you. I know Estra's done a lot of work around customer journeys, but this was just before she arrived. So do you want to tell us a little bit about the solution builder?
Yes, the solution builder is a part of our mining website. So with the mining website, we presented nearly 60 different solutions for customers based on the type of mine and what type of issue they have in the mine. So we needed to figure out an easy way for the customer to get right down to the solution. So with the solution builder, we use conditional logic, and with 4 steps, you can get to the solution that you're looking for. So again, if you start, you can select what type of mine it is. It can be aluminium, coal, or copper mine. Then next, you see what area in the mine you need to go to, whether it's a road, rail, or anything else which is displayed there. Then you pick the specific requirement, click on that, and then based on that data entry, it will take you to a specific solution. So here in the solution, you will see what type of products you can use, what type of applications are available for that specific set of conditions that you entered in the solution builder. So it's using conditional logic, we narrow it down and come up with a solution for the customer, which would save him, or her a lot of time just browsing through the website.
And I guess, look, it's using out of the box technology, so it's not that it's that difficult to build it, I suppose, in many respects. But certainly, Asman, you and I probably spent a lot of time putting together the matrix to get people through. So I think it's a great example of just simply making that customer journey easier for particularly in your case where you've got so many, you've got different segments that you need to appeal to. I think the other thing is your sales guys use this as well, don't they, when they're speaking to customers, and it helps them guide the sales process with customers.
It's a good internal learning tool as well for anyone, just to go through the different steps and then come up with what sort of solution is available for a customer problem.
Yeah.
And you can actually browse down and go into more details and get more information and download the relevant technical documentation as well for that solution.
Great. So in terms of, and I'm going to keep moving along. I love that solution, by the way, as you know. From a marketing perspective, Estra, they're the kind of the 2 really practical examples that I wanted to show. Do you agree with these takeaways, I suppose, in terms of, I know you're doing customer journeys. How do you think about it when you're building these solutions?
Well, yeah, the customer is king, especially when you're working in marketing, because it's all about, customer facing, I guess, activities, which is really good. But yeah, definitely my job is to certainly understand the customer and to map out the customer journey by developing insights. And I guess some of those customer insights come through and are captured by talking to a lot of different people across the business and externally as well, and by talking to customers directly. But the customer map is super important as well, just to make, I guess the journey and the user experience a lot easier. So
for those who don't know, tell us in very quickly, what's a customer map?
So customer map, so we've got a lot of different segments. So we sort of target government, we target, engineers, but there's also a wide range of engineers that we target. So there's structural engineers, there's a whole host of different engineering, I guess, sub-segments. So it's just basically having a look at, what kind of things are important to them, and, what kind of, I mean, you know, for example, if you're looking at our website, you know, what kind of information are they looking to download? What's important to them? What are the factors that trigger them to do what they do or what they need? So there's a whole host of different questions that we ask when it comes to, you know, I guess the customer journey map.
And I know you look at your data as well. We had a good session
Data,
yesterday looking
yeah,
at your analytics. So just seeing what people are doing and
how they're moving, where they're going, how long are they going there for. So yeah, there's a whole host of, you know, analysis that goes with that as well.
right. And then we really just apply the digital channels where the digital channels fit. I suppose we use them, but you know, it's still as important that people are face to face.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Wonderful.
So yeah.
Well, thank you for that. Any questions for Estra? Just type them in the box. We'll pick them up as we're going through. Osman, let's go over to you, and we'll talk very quickly about the IT and, you know, the process perspective, I guess, and take a couple of examples from there. I guess tell us a little bit. I mean, I'm big on, obviously we're into integration. We talk about smart glue. Tell us a little bit about ERP and integration and how they fit together, and I guess the importance of the ERP as a single source.
I think what we try to achieve from some time back is to have that single source of truth. And the single source of truth in our case is the ERP system. So we try to integrate whatever external systems, whatever thing we do outside into the ERP, so that when we run a report from the ERP, we know that's the latest and the most accurate data. So to maintain that and also to maintain different systems, we need to enable integration so that people can log in and enter data in different areas, but they enter the data only once and they enter it accurately and it gets uploaded into the ERP. So we are assured that the data in there is always correct. So that ensures that the user has a good experience as well, not having to enter information in different places in Excels or different data silos. So it's all going into one place and we get our information from the same place.
Yeah. And I think the other thing you do is you use the portal, you use the front end technology or the presentation layer to present to the customer, but you use your ERP then as a, you know, for its core purpose, I guess.
Yes. So the ERP spreads across different areas for us, starting from the business opportunities or CRM where data is captured, then supply chain, finance, manufacturing, service management, and it just pretty much covers all our business processes. And at different points, it's integrated into different systems where we make use of the smart glue.
Yeah. And I guess we started out, if I jump into the examples, I think we've grown, you know, as a group, in our use of APIs over the course of the last 5 years. So the first example was just taking a simple customer inquiry, and maybe tell us a little bit about what was happening before and then what we did with the APIs to streamline the process.
So before, when a customer raises an inquiry on the website, it would just shoot out a mail to the relevant sales engineer in the area where the inquiry came from. Like, so if it was on Victoria, it would go to somebody in Melbourne, and then that person would then follow up on that email. So there was no track of anything being done or any follow-up being done, and we just kind of lost it. So what we have done since is when inquiry is entered into the system, along with the email, the entry is put into CRM for that particular sales engineer, so that there can be some open item on his dashboard which he needs to follow up on. So we call that a business activity. So the business activity is then created, and also the business lead is created automatically. And once the sales engineer speaks to this lead or has a phone conversation or whatever that needs to be done, and then he updates the business activity as completed. So basically we close the loop there and make sure that that lead is not gone wasted.
And I think that's really important at closing of the loop when you've got, you know, you've got a good team of salespeople out the road. They're all scattered kind of all over Australia and beyond, and in New Zealand as well. So you know what inquiries are coming. And I think, well, that gave us a bit of confidence that, you know, there was value, I suppose, in APIs back in the day. Another early example was with the online store and integrating with your warehouses. You want to give us the the quick 30 seconds on that, or minute on that.
So what happens with the interface here is that when a user comes in and he wants to buy something, or wants to buy something, they pick the store here. And once the store is picked, this is the interface actually goes into our ERP system, checks the product availability, pricing, and then displays it to the customer. So they can see online if product X is available or product Y is available. And then, also get some indication of pricing. So that kind of eliminates a requirement to call the branch or to have a conversation. They can see online if it's available. And of course, if it's not available, they can then look at any alternative product and then check the stock levels of that as well. So all of these things happen automatically through APIs, linking the website and the ERP system.
Wonderful. Now, I guess that gave us a bit of confidence, and they're the ones I'm comfortable with, those two examples, because they're customer facing. Once I see an interface like this, I go, right, I'm going to hand this one over to the technical guys. But this was a really good example of you seeing a business process admin and saying, right, we can use APIs to streamline this process. Do you want to? I'll hand it over to you again.
Okay, so this, although this looks like a very complicated window, it is actually not. For somebody who knows, it's not too bad. But what happens here is this is our QA system. So the ERP and the QA system are different because the kind of product we made, we need specific QA requirements, and a normal system can't maintain that information. So we have built our own QA system. So what used to happen is, before, when we actually record in the ERP system that we have built a product, the system generates what we call a roll number. Now that roll number needed to be entered in manually into this QA system, and all the test results against that roll number entered into the system. So this was manual. And again, when people are on shift early morning, errors can be made. This caused a lot of issues because you enter the wrong roll number in, and then that goes onto site and the customers get the wrong QA certification. So to avoid that, what we did is, every time we record that a role has been produced in IFS, the interface talks to the QA system and puts in the roll number in the QA system. So it's pre-populated for the end user. All they need to come and then enter in is the different characteristics or the attributes of testing, and then it's all done. So that kind of eliminated errors. We had more accuracy. And another side effect was that reconciliation reduced. We didn't have to spend so much time reconciling, because just imagine if we manufacture hundreds and hundreds of rolls and then one roll is incorrect, to reconcile, see what went on our trucks or what is on the yard, to find that information is very cumbersome. So this eliminated that whole problem, and it was quite a good achievement from our end when it comes to building interfaces. So this really worked for us.
Wonderful. I think that probably gave us a little bit of confidence for the next one, which was, that was integration. First, we had integration with the website or the portal and the ERP. Then we had integration between your ERP and your quality control system. And then we decided we'd have a look at integrating with third-party systems with the Track My Order.
I got an order for you if you want to track it online now.
Yeah. Okay, let me do that.
So can you try M71?
Yeah.
037.
Nothing like doing it live without any preparation for it to work.
Yeah, that's hopefully it'll work. So I think you need to use M71037. M7.
Oh, you gave me the number actually.
Keep going. Can you get capital M? You need to use capital M. Yeah, M71.
I don't think that's the right number actually, Asman.
71037. No, this should work as well. Yeah, that's them. So if you click on the I there, the I sign there in the map, others about the map, there's an I, information. Yeah, you can see that was dispatched today. So it's already been dispatched. That's why it's showing as completed. But if it was mid or traveling, you could see the little truck going along the map.
Yeah.
So
I guess the point here is that this is a third-party system.
Yeah.
And you've connected into, I think, 3 or 4 different, or at least 2 anyway, different delivery systems, depending on where people are located. Is that right?
Yeah, so we use different delivery companies in different parts of the country. So based on which number you enter in there, the interface actually points to that particular delivery partner and then takes it to their interface and displays the data accordingly. So the challenge here was that we needed to harmonize the whole system so that one interface works across different parties, and each of them had different integration requirements. So we had to work through with the glue, our WSO2, to figure out how to connect to each of those parties and get the information we required.
Yeah, and I think, look, one of the lessons for people looking at APIs is, some of the providers, some APIs are better than others, I suppose. And that was a good learning and a good lesson for us.
Yeah. Some of the bigger players you think would have all of these things set up, but they were harder to work with compared to the smaller players in the market.
Great. Look, we've had a few people join us. We've turned this into a webinar, or sorry, a meeting as opposed to a webinar. So if anyone has any questions just or comments to make, please pipe up. Gary, I notice you're online as well, and I'm pretty sure you guys will be using APIs in your business. So I might ask you a couple of questions in a while if you're happy to get involved.
Yeah, okay.
No pressure, Gary.
Yeah. Happy to help.
The final one, I think, is another great example, Asman, of with the quotation builder and the issue you had around salespeople trying to get quotes out. Do you want to again just lead us through that step by step?
Yeah. So what this does is sales engineers enter information into the CRM system, and we call that business opportunity. And then when they enter the information in, they need to prepare a quotation to send to the customer. So usually what this would happen is they would have to enter data into into Word documents, prepare a Word document, convert that into a PDF, and then email that out. So it was a multiple step process. So what we thought we'll do is we'll have an option where they can right mouse click on the opportunity and convert that into a PDF. So what this does is it transfers all the data from the ERP system to a PDF generator. And then based on the information provided, it will just email the completed quotation to the sales engineer who created it. And then the sales engineer sends it out to the customer. So this process really reduces time on that code preparation time it takes, and also make sure that we have the correct data. So we have seen examples where we put one pricing or product in the system, but actually when the code goes out, there are changes being done with pricing and product, which can have inconsistencies in what the customer sees and what is in the system. So this kind of avoids that and helps us go back to that having that one source of truth scenario. So we have one source of truth and all the information comes from the ERP system, and we have accurate data in the ERP as well as a result.
I think the other thing is I don't know if this does it justice, but this is the quote here, so we can fully brand it up again. I know Esther's going to change this.
Yeah, I'm going to change it.
Prettier.
It's a work in progress to change. Yeah.
But it's branded. You've got the logo on it. It's we can do whatever we want in terms of presentation, and it goes out automatically. So I look in simple terms there. I think they're really good examples. Hopefully practical examples for people about how APIs get used. I've got this little diagram up the top to say that I guess once you've got your integration in the middle and you've got used to connecting two systems, there's no reason why you can't continue to connect to systems over time and plug more and more things in. And obviously that means you can drive innovation in the business. It means you can change your business model potentially. You can create new revenue streams by charging in different ways, all those kind of things. But you've got to start somewhere, and you've got to start by connecting one system to another for those who, it's a non-IT crowd, I suppose, that we're talking to here.
The other thing I'd add, Fergal, too, is, digital is ever changing. So at the moment, it's moving at the speed of light. So, yeah, by doing that, I think you're preparing yourself for all sorts of different things that might happen as well.
Yeah. And obviously this is happening in the tech sector, in a lot of the FMCG sectors, but it's coming at manufacturing as well. Gary, I'll give you your 5 minutes. I'm assuming you're using APIs heavily in your business to connect in with systems. you want to give us a bit of a perspective on how you see it enabling? You know, you're kind of in the fintech business, aren't you?
Yeah, we are. So just give everybody a quick overview. Our business is a rewards platform. So we tend to ingest information from various types of organizations, including people like MasterCard and Visa, some of the banks, and then some big affiliate marketing organizations. So we capture real-time transactions when consumers make a purchase in store or online. And all of that information is ingested via APIs, probably from about 20 different organizations at this stage. From there, and you've described it here as the glue, I think, our glue, if you like, our system then picks that data up, understands the profile of the user and, you know, what they've done, where they've made that purchase, the value of the purchase and so on, and works out what output should go via which API, because on the other side of our platform, we run rewards programs for fintechs and banks, and it's usually their interface that's communicating with the customer. So we've outbound APIs then that reach out to those mobile apps or websites and send real-time notifications. So in reality, we talk about sub 5 seconds. If someone was in a store doing a purchase in, funny enough, I'm going to use Glue Store as an example. They're one of our customers. Yeah. If you walked into a Glue Store organization, you tap and pay with your credit or debit card. We pick that up and communicate back to the customer within 5 seconds what reward they've got. And all of that's done by API. You know, we rely heavily on those secure APIs to communicate real-time data both ways, in and out, from our platform. So that's what we do. Is Glue an acronym here, or is that an internal?
We just call it Glue. It's an internal buzzword, I suppose, we use that, you know, that CEOs get. They understand they need to stick their systems together. And, you know, I suppose one of the pieces of advice we give to senior managers in I guess B2B, government is another sector where they're not as they're probably not as tech savvy as the sector you're in, is tell them they need to buy systems. Never buy a system again that doesn't have a modern API.
Yeah.
You know, once they've got the glue, or they've got the middleware in the middle, and they've got systems with APIs, they can pull and play and put. It's like Lego blocks, playing with Lego blocks. They can add the systems as they go. And I think one of the things that's really important is people think this has only been, or a lot of people seem to think this has only been done by the really big organizations or the startup organizations. You know, this stuff is possible for every business, I think, or is.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe just to talk, I don't know how many people are familiar with this, but there's something called open banking, which is changing our industry and probably going to change a lot of the products, financial products that people are going to get offered in the next 2 to 3 years. So all of the banks that you work with today are currently being, regulation coming in to force them to open up the customer data to third parties, only with the consumer's consent now. But it means that if you as a consumer, for example, want to buy a new insurance policy or get a new loan, other than your bank, those organizations that you go to will be able to pull data from your bank via open APIs and use that information to assess, for example, which product to offer you, right? So there's a whole industry around open banking at the minute. And starting obviously with the biggest banks with consumer products, but I would say the next 5 years, the whole financial industry will change dramatically on the back of that. And it's purely driven by APIs.
Wonderful. Any other questions from anybody? Barry, you deal with a lot of businesses. Do you have any questions? You know, transport industry, do they understand APIs? Are they using APIs?
I would think they're probably not using it as much as they should, Fergal. And I think the client I introduced you to a couple of weeks ago may well be able to benefit from it, Fergal. I think in their case, they sort of have some sort of fixed price and zones for a lot of the work that they do. And zones are sort of, they carry heavier single items or 2 or 3 items on a load. They travel to carry equipment. And I think there might be some scope to perhaps improve it and do it, invoice more on mileage or kilometres rather than just straight zones or having a mixture of the two. So I think there would be some opportunities there. Yeah. But also when that client speaks to you, I think you need to bear in mind what you've spoken of today to how you might be able to help him.
Yeah, no problem at all. Anybody else got any perspectives on it? APIs, Chris, I noticed you're online. You've used them a bit with obviously in the local government context, but getting APIs across the line and explaining it to senior executives, is that a challenge people need to be aware of as techies? People get it.
It certainly was, Fergal, a challenge. But I guess the question I had, and of course, I did a lot of work with you guys in local government some years back. But what has really changed from your perspective in the last, say, 3 years that's made it better for, say, the local government environment with access to APIs or just, online services full stop? Or is there, has it not changed, or has it gone backwards, or what has changed in the environment?
Your sector is fairly, in some respects, more calcified than others. But you're starting to see this pressure come on all the ERP vendors, in my view, that they have to open up, have to make their APIs available, because the industry won't stand for it anymore. That's the big change, and I think the understanding of what this technology can do for people is starting to change as well. And I think people are starting to understand that, if they have the ability to fuse together best of breed products to deliver a much better service to the customer. They don't have to be beholden to one provider.
Yeah, and I think that's the challenge that in local government was to convince management that they don't have to be sticking with the incumbents, and there are alternatives there, and that was always the challenge, and probably still is.
Yeah, and I think it's the challenge with most, a lot of the sectors we're talking to, the B2B sectors, where you've got your incumbent ERP providers. They want to keep you within their ecosystem. It's in their interest. It's not really in their interest to say you can connect, or it hasn't been until now. But I think people are starting to realise that this just gives you so much scope for innovation and delivering better services, that it has to be embraced. I mean, I read somewhere recently that the average app on an app store, is integrating into 17 different services. So nobody builds a system now that does everything. We all tap into other services. So if I build an app for the App Store, I'm going to use Twilio to send SMSs. I'm going to use Stripe to take payments. It's the same thing, just played out on a smaller scale. And businesses like Geofabrics are starting to do that as well. The ERP is not going to go away. It drives core business. It's hugely important. But, it doesn't deliver a better customer experience. There's something that will do that better. It doesn't do delivery as well as other systems. Pick the best of breed and connect to it is really important.
So based on that, perhaps the approach to management is to sell a service or an approach or experience to the customer, not the concentration of the actual vendor that's providing the services. Because as you said, for an app, it could be up to 17 different services that are being accessed. So they don't really need to know that. It's, hey, this is the service or experience we're going to provide to the customer.
Correct.
Don't worry about if it's a X or Y or Z company that's providing it.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we logged that example with the travel agent. It's going into thousands of systems via WebJet. Nobody knows what systems it's going into. When you do a Google search, you're returning an entry that's going to send you to a website and give you information. You don't care really, so long as you're getting the right information. You don't really care where Google's sending you or where it's pulling the information from. So we're just in an ecosystem now. We're not in a closed system anymore, I suppose, is my view on it.
Simple example, Fergal, we're completing a project with a customer at the moment. I won't name the customer, but they had a process internally where they were actually gathering information on file transfer from suppliers, 19 different suppliers. and they sent them information in once a month. All that had to be consolidated before anything was rewarded to a customer. So again, it was a rewards program. So typically the lapse was about 6 weeks between a customer doing a transaction, getting a reward. And our project has been about, bringing that down to minutes, if not seconds now. And the only way we could do that was taking the data in real time via APIs into our system, and again, feeding their app via API to alert the customer. So, they've done two things. They've streamlined their back office, cutting costs in their business, but they've also improved the customer experience dramatically by doing that. So, and there's so many examples where people didn't realize that was an option, so they haven't explored it before.
I think that's a key point. These options are available now. So, all right, Osman, very quickly back to you. You've been quiet in this conversation. Any key takeaways? I've jotted a few down there, but if there's other businesses on here, we've got Porty on. I know they're starting on their kind of transformation journey in her business. John, you're probably interested in this as well. And Esther, to you as well. So what are the key takeaways or the lessons, or what would you advise people if they're starting on this journey?
Just adding to what you got on the slide, like not everything works. We have tried lots of things, and some things have not come off as we expected. But I think that all depends on how you approach it. Again, one of the main things is, like you alluded before, Fergal, is to have those correct foundations. And if you have the correct foundation, then you can build on it. So picking an ERP system which has those API connectivity was very important to us. And then thankfully our ERP does, and we've been able to achieve all of these things because of that ability to connect and send data both in and out. The other aspect of this is the human interface with the system. So it should be simplified. It can't be complicated. And there's a bit of change management involved. So we just have to manage those processes carefully so that people don't get overwhelmed when it comes to interfaces and data flowing from here to there and so on and so forth. So yeah,
I think that's really quite important for you guys. There's guys who are out on site. They're time poor. They don't want to be looking at complicated interfaces.
Yeah. And it's the same with production as well. Guys in the production line, they don't want to look at difficult, complicated screens. It should all be simplified. It should be minimum clicks, and as much as possible data flowing through without any interference from their part.
Yeah. Great. All right. I think that's good. I thought we'd go for 45. We're on 52, I think, at the moment. Look, first of all, I want to thank Esther and Osman for giving up their time on pretty short notice and at a pretty busy time of the year. It's been really good to get these concrete examples. I know I changed things around and made it a bit more of an interactive session, so thanks for bearing with me on that. And yeah, really appreciate speaking to us and being so candid.
No problem.
Thank you.
Anybody got any final questions, or will we close it out? I think we're good. Great. All right. Well, look, thank you very much, everyone. That's it in terms of the webinars for the year. We will, if people have found these practical examples useful, we'll run another few similar sessions next year. Give us some feedback. We'll send out an email looking for feedback, but tell us what you want to learn. And really, these webinars are around sharing knowledge and education. So thanks for joining. Yeah, have a happy Christmas, everybody, if we don't speak to you.